Are we going to try and pick this up? We will try. Welcome to my 2026 Project Pan book edition. So, I've been seeing a lot of makeup influencers doing the Project Pan with their makeup, but I don't really overconsume makeup, nor do I books. Like, I'm going to read all of them. Like, this is tame compared to some I've seen, but I thought it'd be a bit fun because I need to finish these ideally by the 22nd of January to do a Project Pan, which would really make me go through and read all of these. We're going to start first with the books that I've started and not finished for whatever reason, and then we'll go into the books I've not read. This is a mixture of mostly non-fiction and then fiction books because I am really starting to get more into fiction now, but my degree just means I've got a lot of non-fiction books that I need to get through, and then I can move on to fiction books, which will be really nice because I am really getting into them more now. Let's get into it. So these are the 4 books I'm in the middle of. I'm going to go through the one I'm currently reading, the one that I've got the second least amount of pages left, third, then fourth, and then, you know, these are the ones that are highest priority right now. So first we have Now We Have Your Attention, The New Politics of the People by Jack Schenker. So this involves him going around the UK and asking a lot of questions about why people think the way they do politically, what has influenced them, and they go all the way from like Glasgow, Manchester, Essex, hopefully Wales, because if it's not included then my rating of this will not be very good, because I think it is important. But yeah, we won't go on a rant. But yeah, I'm 76 pages in. I've got around 170 odd or something left, so hopefully finish this tonight or early tomorrow morning. Next we have On Violence and On Violence Against Women by Jacqueline Rose. So I'm a Hassel Ambassador, which is a social enterprise aimed at tackling violence against women and girls. So I'm reading this in the hopes that it can really help me elevate my activism and my responses to some trolls who have some issues with that. But yeah, I'm partway through it. Hopefully I can start this tomorrow and then I can just get through it all, because I've really been reducing my screen time in favour of reading, because I feel like I definitely spend way too much time on my phone, and it's one of my resolutions to spend less time on it. So yeah, that's this book. Next we have Just Mercy, A Story of Justice and Redemption by Brian Stevenson. So this, I'll read the blurb because I don't want to mess up any of what the book's about, but it says, the US has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. 1 in every 15 people born there today is expected to go to prison. For black men, this figure rises to 1 in 3, and death row is disproportionately black too. Brian Stevenson grew up poor in the racially segregated South. His innate sense of justice made him a brilliant young lawyer, and one of his first defendants was Walter McMillian, a black man sentenced to die for the murder of a white woman, a crime he insisted he didn't commit. The case drew Brian into a tangle of conspiracy, political machination, startling racial inequality, and legal brinkmanship, and transformed his understanding of mercy and justice forever. At once an unforgettable account of an idealistic lawyer's coming of age and a moving portrait of the lives of those he has defended, Just Mercy is an inspiring argument for compassion in the pursuit of justice. So, I'm really interested to read this because I have always been, I don't know if interested is the right word, in the racialization of the justice system. I'm really interested to finish reading this because I remember reading this on the train and I literally only got about 15 pages in, and the writing, as you can see, is extremely small. So that's one issue I have, is really small writing, because as you can see I've got glasses, so maybe reading glasses is in my future. I'm only 20 but I'm going on blinking 50. And then the final one that I'm actually on chapter 6 of, that I did only in a day because that's how much I got absorbed into it, is What Really Happened in Wuhan by Shari Markson. So this is an account of COVID-19 and it goes all the way from the very early days of when none of us outside of China knew that there was even a virus developing there, and it talks about accounts from inside of the hospital, from activists. It highlights people's lives who helped spread the message that this virus was coming, and how like Trump reacted to it, how the UK reacted to the news, the lockdowns and everything. And Shari Markson is a journalist, so I'm really interested to continue reading this. I am. And then the massive pile of books. These are all books I have not started for whatever reason. Some of these are new, like some of these I bought in December or November, so we're transitioning and my legs really hurt. So I'm just going to go top to bottom to make it easier for me. So the first one we have is The Shadow Bride by Shelby Mahern. So I'm going to read the synopsis for you because I haven't read this yet, so I don't really know what it's about. But it says, yours will be a fate worse than death. Sally's life is over. She took a final breath trying to save the people she loves, including the enigmatic vampire king, Mikal, who refused to let her go. When Sally wakes, she cannot walk in the sun and she craves her friend's blood. Mikal has cursed her to the eternal existence of a vampire. But Sally isn't the only undead being roaming the earth. Her sister Philippa has returned as a shadow of her former self, and other revenants are rising from their graves, intent on revenge. The fragile balance between life and death has broken, awakening an even darker force, and he is coming for Sally, ready to claim her as his bride. So, I got this as part of a buy one get one half price because it really interested me when I was in Waterstones, and I was one of those girls who got gifted Twilight when I turned like 13 and watched all the movies more than once. So I'm really interested to read this. I like vampire stories, but I'm really hoping it lives up to what I'm hoping from it. But let me know in the comments for any of these books what you think of them and whether you think it's going to be a good and exciting read for me, because if it is, that's going to really motivate me to get through the books to eventually get to these. The next one I'm going to butcher the saying of because of my accent, but the next one is The House Sapphire by Marissa Meyer. I've never read any of Marissa Meyer's books. I know she is popular on BookTok, but I tend not to look on BookTok as much as possible. I do. But again, I'll just read the blurb for you. The rest I won't, but just the fantasy ones I like reading because I don't really have a background to them because I've just found them walking around Waterstones. But I'll just go into it. So, Mallory Fontaine is a fraud. She's descended from witches and pretends to be one, although her only magic is the ability to see ghosts. She can barely make a living, but Count Armand Saphir will pay a fortune if she can rid him of his murderous ancestor's ghost. Now death has returned to House Saphir, and Mallory is almost certain the killer is mortal. To have any hope of Armand's payment, she'll need to solve the murder, banish the ghost, and keep passing as a witch. Still, that's easy compared to her biggest challenge, trusting her heart, especially when her heart's desire could be the murderer himself. So that sounds really interesting to me, and actually, like, it's not similar, but also, like, I just finished reading Shatter Me. That's a spoiler for this week's book empties of the week, but I feel like this will be similar in me being interested in the premise of it. And I mean, the sprayed edges are a really big plus, so I'm really excited to read this when I get around to it. Then we are into all the non-fictions and like semi-non-fiction, I think this one is, but I'll get into that when I get to it. So the first one we have is Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. So it basically talks about the rise of autocracy by drawing on the resurgence of totalitarianism in Russia, and it looks at Trump in America and the moves he's making there. So I'm really interested in reading this because my degree, or major as you'd call it in America, is politics and international relations. So I'm really interested in reading this and seeing that, because 2 of my modules are contemporary security challenges and oppression and resistance, and I feel like this would blend really well into that. It would, and I feel like it'll be like a quick read for me because it's not a big book like some of the others, and I've gone through those in like a day or so, so like I feel like I can get through this relatively quickly, which will be nice. Then we have what's been like a bit of a contentious topic on TikTok lately that I stay out of, is Nothing to Envy, Real Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick. So it talks about, from first-hand account, what people's lives are like in North Korea, and it's something I've not really done research into, so it'll be interesting for me to read more about it and develop my own knowledge and like opinions surrounding the topic from people who have actually like had lived experience there, and from proper investigative journalists, not just what people on TikTok are saying. Next, we have a book that is based on real life events, but I believe is fiction, and I know it's going to make me cry, and I know people in the comments will confirm. It is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, and it's about the Syrian Revolution. And just from what I've heard about it from people's account, it was a really hard time for people, and reading that excerpt made me cry. So I want to read this to develop my knowledge on the topic, because it is really important to me that I do read more into, obviously, worldwide issues and stuff, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. But I am going to have a box of tissues by the side of me, whether it's in my bed here or in my bed in Sheffield. It is. And then, second to last, we have How Migration Really Works, 22 Things You Need to Know About the Most Divisive Issue in Politics. So, obviously, being a politics student, obviously, we all know the biggest issues people are talking about nowadays, and I just really want to get a proper grounding of knowledge within this topic, because like I've been learning about it in university because I'm taking a module called Migration and World Politics, but my lecturers were on strike for 4 weeks, and I just feel like I wasn't absorbing the knowledge that I want to from the lectures, if you get me, because everyone knows as a uni student, you're sat in the lecture for 2 hours and suddenly your brain switches off. You're doing online shopping, you're doing worldwide quizzes naming every country in the world and stuff. So I'm hoping this can really help expand my knowledge. And finally, we have Unwell Women, A Journey Through Medicine and Myth in a Man-Made World by Eleanor Cleghorn. So I bought this, I believe, because a Waterstones employee told me that the book was really good and well received, and I found it really interesting how it goes all the way from ancient Greece all the way up to modern day, about medicine and women's health, and like how misogyny still continues to impact us to this day. And yeah, I look forward to getting through it, and it looks like, yeah, it's got like photos in the middle with like information. It does. So I'm looking forward to reading this when I get around to it. And there we go, that's my project plan to begin 2026. So let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, any recommendations you have for books I should put on my list of books to buy, because I am inevitably going to go to Waterstones and buy some more books, especially fantasy books and fiction books, because I'm doing a lot of non-fiction, and I really want to let myself just read something without thinking. I do. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, follow me if you'd like, That'd be really nice. And yeah, look forward to my book shopping vlogs and also my book empties of the week that I'll be uploading every week. Bye guys!